All right, so welcome to the stage. I'm Martin Benson from Jaywing and Tim Latham from Datatrainer. I think when I start your slides, Martin, it's going to go straight into a video, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it is, yeah.
Which kind of shows what it is that you're talking about, Archetype, as it says there. So are you going to talk over and kind of give us an idea of what it is?
That's right, yeah. It'll bear no relation to what's happening behind me.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Yeah, that can just go in the background. The video is really to give you a sense for what the tool is. So Archetype is a software as a service product that we've developed, which allows our users to produce predictive models on their own data using deep learning. And deep learning is kind of the newest, snazziest sort of form of AI out there. And yeah, the idea of the tool is that you can use it to produce predictive models on your own data without needing sort of deep technical background in the sort of methodology, without having to write any code. You can sort of use the pointy-clicky interface. It will sort of guide you through the process.
So it's a step-by-step process where you're turning green lights on as you go through it.
That's right, yeah. So yeah, as you sort of progress through the project to get to a model, you sort of get more and more green lights on that nav bar.
When you say progress towards creating a model,
yeah.
What do you mean by model?
Yeah. So, I should explain, I guess, what a predictive model is and like why it's useful. Predictive models is essentially just something that allows you to make a prediction about something based on data. So it's used, a fair bit in industry. One use that I'll kind of come back to in later slides is in credit scoring. So that's an area that we've, as a company, done a lot of work in, and their predictive models are used to predict based on what we know about credit applicants, whether they're likely to repay that credit or not.
Right.
So there's an automated process that looks at all the data relating to some applicant and makes a decision about whether they're likely to repay the debt or not. They're used in marketing a fair bit too, to predict, for instance, whether someone's likely to, open an email if you send it to them, or whether they're likely to click on an ad that you might place on the internet, and so on.
Right.
And then I guess across lots of businesses, another sort of common use case is around predicting churn. So it's helpful to be able to predict which customers are likely to leave you, so that you can try and take action before they do so.
Okay. And so being able to predict the future and predict what's happening, or predict the behavior of certain groups of people, is very valuable.
Yeah.
And the techniques for doing so are becoming more and more sophisticated.
Yes.
And you've created a tool that makes creating a model, a predictive model, as easy as clicking through some screens, as long as you understand what the parameters are.
Yeah. And then the other sort of key aspect of the tool, which sort of relates to the next slide really, is that it also does that in a way that gives you a very high level of control over how these models behave. So although deep learning is great in the sense of producing very, very powerful models that can do a great job of predicting this thing that you're interested in, they're definitely black box models. You sort of pipe some data into them and an answer pops out at the other end, and what happened in the middle, God knows. Really.
People are just affected by the results without having any redress or anybody understanding why.
And Apple did us a great favor really in helping us promote a key benefit of our tool through dropping the ball really in this exact area just a month or so ago. And so they got in trouble for essentially a man and his wife in the US both applied for an Apple card, and the guy got a credit limit that was kind of 20 times higher than his wife's. And their argument was, you know, they had a sort of shared financial situation, so they were, you know, equally good credit prospects. And, you know, their argument is, well, the only thing that's different between us is our gender. So you've, you know, made a biased decision on the basis of our gender. And so, you know, Apple certainly claim that they've not done anything biased, but the key thing is, what they still haven't done to this day is been able to explain why it made that decision. And Elizabeth Warren's kind of, you know, saying until they can explain why, they shouldn't be using this thing. And that's the whole really reason that we developed Archetype.
Are they not saying it because it's actually difficult for them to know, or are they not saying it because there's intellectual property in the model?
Yeah, it's hard to know, and I don't think we know in this particular case. It's possible that they're using something like deep learning, a black box approach, and they just aren't really able to, you know, they've done that in a way that means they're not really able to know. It could be that they're trying to sort of, lenders don't really like to say too much about how these decisions are made, because they worry about fraud if they kind of told you all of the key, you know.
And presumably there's a competitive advantage over there.
Yeah, that too.
Competitors. But of course, if Elizabeth Warren gets away, then this is going to be regulated, and lenders are going to be forced to show what their algorithms do. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, the other thing that's true in the EU certainly is that the GDPR rules include clauses around automated decision making. That say,
so the individual
to explain to, you need to be able to give sort of a meaningful information around how automated decisions are reached.
And so that's a digital right that customers can
thing of like not actually saying specifically what they mean by that. It's kind of a little bit open to interpretation, but certainly there's an expectation there. You go some way to explaining how you've reached a decision. So what we did in Archetype essentially is allow you to impose rules on these models, these complicated black box models. You're able to constrain them and say, you know, I insist that, you know, there's this type of behavior. Don't give me a model where this isn't true.
Right.
And that's something that has happened for a long time in credit scoring. We've always added rules like, you know, as someone's income increases, then they should receive a better credit score. And, you know, the more times they've kind of not repaid their debts in the past, the worse a credit score should be. You can have all those kinds of rules that mean that when you make a decision, there's going to be some, you know, underlying story in the data that fed into that decision that justifies it.
Right. And so
that's what they lack here.
Yeah. Okay. And these are some of the places where you've applied this.
Yeah, that's right. So
how long has Archetype been in the marketplace for?
It's around a year.
Okay.
Yeah, around a year now. And over the course of that time, we've done around 20 proof of concept projects, mainly with banks and financial services companies. That's kind of our target market really for the product. And what we've done in those proof of concept exercises is to take some data from them, use Archetype to produce a predictive model, and then do a like-for-like comparison of how the Archetype model compares to their existing model, to you know, show the benefit very concretely. And we found just across the board that we've been able to deliver like really strong results, and you know, credit scoring is a mature industry. People have been producing, you know, decent predictive models for a long 30 years. So to be able to kind of do better still, but yet also you know, satisfy all the requirements around making sure that it doesn't do weird stuff has been good.
Right. Yeah, that sounds like a bit of a breakthrough, if anything.
And I guess that kind of leads on to the next slide, which is a gratuitous chance to show off our trophy. So yeah, we've won a number of awards for the product over the last year. We've in fact been winning them at such a rate that we have another one that we've not yet had a chance to
Since you took the photo, just go in the slide deck. That's been another award win.
So that takes us up to 5.
Okay, and so Archetype is built by Jaywing.
Yeah.
Of which you are the engineering lead for AI, I think, isn't that?
Yeah.
But Tim, you founded a startup called Datatrainer, and you're using Archetype or using Jaywing's capability in some other areas.
My startup based over at Collider is basically me. Datatrainer is me. I've created and built and sold a couple of businesses. I was looking around for something else to do, and in that research was just drawn to the vast amount of evidence that suggests artificial intelligence is going to make massive changes to all sorts of industries, all sorts of businesses. So I researched that to death and thought, based on my skills and experience, I can construct a front-end business model to do that, a commercial background. But I obviously needed a partner to be able to deliver that work should I be able to go out there and find it.
Right.
So yeah, I met Martin at an event similar to this, and I've fully landed square on my feet in being able to create a formal relationship with Jaywing, where this kind of sort of enterprise grade tools are available off the shelf for certain solutions. And also, Martin leads a team of 60 plus, 70 plus data scientists, from basic wranglers right through to, deep learning PhD type stuff who can offer bespoke solutions.
So are you looking to take Archetype to a different market than Jaywing is, or because it's got so many different applications?
Yeah, Jaywing and not just Archetype. That's what we're obviously here to talk about today. There are a number of other off-the-shelf tools, and Jaywing are very busy pitching those successfully into very large businesses. What they're helping me with now is, taking this skill and experience and knocking on the doors of smaller but open to innovation businesses who can get their hands around AI and squeeze value out of their data.
Yeah, because the other thing that Archetype and similar things does is it commodifies that data science and deep learning capability.
Can do. Yeah.
So it's now within the realm of smaller companies that would have a lot of data, but don't have the means to turn that into a prediction model to gain insight into their business and their market.
Yeah.
Right. That's fantastic. It's really, really interesting to hear about it. I think it's great that this kind of research and product is going on in Sheffield as well. So thanks very much for coming in, Martin and
Patent
Tim.
pending as well. You forgot to mention that.
Sorry.
Patent pending.
Patent pending. Yeah. Good. Thanks very much, everyone.